Leo found the room by accident. It was at the back of his new house's basement, hidden behind a stack of dusty old boxes. The door was heavy and had no knob, just a small, dark hole where one used to be. He pried it open with his fingers, and the smell of old paper and stale air washed over him. The room was small and square. Every inch of the walls, from the floor to the ceiling, was covered in yellowed newspaper clippings. In the far corner sat a single piece of furniture, an old boxy television with rabbit ear antennas. It looked like something out of his grandparents' photo albums. Leo, being a curious 12-year-old, felt a thrill. It was like discovering a secret time capsule. He stepped inside, the heavy door swinging shut with a soft click. He ran his fingers over the walls. The headlines were from all different years. Man walks on moon. Local factory closes its doors. Mystery of missing girl baffles police. It was a strange collage of history. He walked over to the TV and, for fun, plugged its frayed cord into the single grimy outlet on the floor. He twisted the dial. A loud crackle filled the room as the screen lit up with a blizzard of black and white static. The buzzing sound was oddly comforting, the only noise in the silent basement. He spent a few minutes just looking around, but a strange feeling began to creep up his spine. He glanced at a photo of a crowd from the 1950s. For a split second, he could have sworn one of the men in a fedora turned his head and smirked at him. Leo blinked hard. "Seeing things," he mumbled, his voice sounding loud in the small space. He decided to leave. The room was cool, but now it felt cold. He turned to the door and pushed. It didn't budge. He pushed harder. Nothing. The click he'd heard earlier wasn't the door settling. It was a lock. A wave of panic, cold and sharp, hit him. This wasn't a time capsule. It was a trap. It was an escape room, and he was the only player. His heart hammered against his ribs. He looked back at the TV. The buzzing wasn't just a random noise anymore. It seemed to have a rhythm, a pattern. And underneath the harsh static, he could hear something else. Whispers. Faint and scratchy, like voices from a distant radio station. He couldn't make out words, just the unsettling hiss of speech. Shh. Names. He backed away, pressing himself against the wall of newsprint. The paper felt brittle under his hands. Suddenly, the TV screen went completely black. The silence was deafening. Then, just as quickly, the static returned with a loud pop. Leo's eyes darted around the room, searching for what had changed. He found it, on the wall, right next to the door. A new newspaper clipping. It wasn't yellowed and old like the others. The paper was crisp white. The ink a deep, wet-looking black. The headline read, "Local boy finds a room he can't leave." Ice flooded Leo's veins. That headline, it was about him, right now. He scrambled back to the TV, his mind racing. He had to turn it off. It had to be the source. He reached for the dial, but as his fingers brushed against the cold plastic, a powerful jolt shot up his arm. The static on the screen swirled into a vortex, and for a terrifying moment, he saw his own reflection. But it wasn't normal. His reflection was pale, its mouth wide open in a silent scream. Its hands pressing against the inside of the glass as it was pulled deeper and deeper into the chaotic snow. He snatched his hand back, stumbling to the floor. The buzzing of the broken TV slowly morphed into frantic screams coming from inside.